Okay, how's the picture? Cable, satellite, whatever. Let me offer you a better view of whatever it is that we're talking about on the Morning Scramble. And what we're talking about is you, Chris Benguhe, and all the things that he's written for the Catholic Sun and other sources. Over how long?
Oh.
You've collected these over a period of what time?
Well, this is the last 10 years of the column. I've been writing it for about 15.
But 10 years in the making, so it must be good.
It's amazing when you can look back at a body of work like that. I was amazed actually at how many things I'd written and how many things I'd written about, how many challenging current events I had taken on to look at them from a positive perspective. And it's extraordinary when you look back and see how timely it still is, every single one of those events that I covered, because they keep happening.
But isn't that interesting, though, the topicality of that? And by the way, should you be put off for just a moment by the idea that Chris Benguhe has written consistently for the Catholic Sun, and you think all of these have to do with you converting to the faith? No, it's about a huge variety of subjects. But then again, your career has been about a huge variety of subjects, starting where?
Of course, the National Enquirer, your favorite magazine.
Always. Well, it's always something I bring up when I talk to you, either here or on the radio station, because people think about the transition that you made from the National Enquirer to the Catholic Sun as being something that's kind of unpredictable.
Well, it was totally unpredicted in my life. You know, I was a reporter for the National Enquirer and then People magazine for years, and I always joke that it was the greatest job I ever hated. Because I got to interview all these extremely famous people, and everybody thought it was a great job, but they were so unhappy, they were so miserable to be around, and I was becoming so miserable. Then the Columbine story happened. I got a chance to see how real people endured real struggles and overcame them in extraordinary ways.
That changed your life, didn't it?
Totally changed my life.
Particularly with your view of media?
Oh, yeah. Well, the media was just hurting people in so many ways in America by exploiting these tragic events to sensationalize tragedy and to make people feel like we were going to hell in a handbasket. And we're not. Life is actually pretty good. We're pretty fortunate in this country and pretty fortunate in the world just to be alive.
Is that what the column is about, a better view?
It is. I take an inspiring look at tough times and challenging events, challenging current events that are going on. Every time you open up the paper or you turn on the news, most of the time it's bad news. And I don't want to say the bad news isn't happening, just the opposite. I want to look at that bad news, quote unquote, and say, okay, what are the opportunities in this? First of all, let's debunk it. Is it really as bad as they're saying it is? But secondly, what are the opportunities for us to make things better? Because there always are.
Well, in the introduction that I wrote, and you were kind enough to acknowledge that and to ask me to begin with, you just reminded me, I used the phrase that neither one of us are Pollyannas.
Exactly.
Just because of the fact that we happen to look at the world and find it to be a pretty positive place.
You know, faith, hope, and love. Those are the adages in the Bible. And but you don't have to just read them in the Bible. Those are some of the most constructive aspects that you can apply and interject into your life. There's not any situation that we can't look at with faith, hope, and love. And that's what I try to do every time I look at the column, whether it's love and loneliness. We just had Valentine's Day. So much of the media focuses on how to get somebody, and you feel incredibly lonely if you don't have somebody. Instead, I'll write about how to feel good about being alone. What are the opportunities when you are alone? Mm-hmm. How can you be better as a person? And then maybe you actually wind up attracting somebody because of that. That's right for you. So I look at a lot of those things that the media will look at from a negative perspective, but in a very hopeful perspective. And that's the key to life, I think.
When you were writing about faith, hope, and love in the book, I was reminded about a period of time when I was dating triplets. But maybe that would be good for the next book. The Best of a Better View, Chris Benguhe. And by the way, if you're familiar with the Catholic Sun, and if you've read his work there, I think you're going to really like this compilation of so many of these things. But it isn't a Catholic view, though, is it?
Well, the Catholic view for me is all about, like I said, hope, faith, and love. So,
Yeah, but,
this is
I'm saying
consistent.
a Methodist or a Buddhist can pick this up
Absolutely,
and
absolutely.
relate to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
In fact,
then let me just open the book. Let me open the book. Now, I didn't know what you were going to be talking about when it came to you looking back with a full body of work, and you reflected on the full body of Anna Nicole Smith. And your experience that day in a segment. I think you were doing the National Enquirer during
Yeah,
this period
absolutely.
of time, right? Okay, I opened this up about 2 minutes before Chris showed up. Too much celebrity news. Be thankful you're everyday people. Tell me what this is about.
Anna Nicole Smith had a very tragic death, obviously. And it was a tragic death that was allowed to happen because she was a celebrity. The point being, when you're a celebrity, you're allowed to do anything you want, even if it's bad for you. She was just steeped in a life of drugs and alcohol and everything that you could do wrong. Nobody told her she was headed for disaster because she was a celebrity. We, in our everyday life, we can't do that. We have to be accountable to people. We have to be accountable to a boss, accountable to our families. They'll come down on us if we're not doing things right. And that keeps us healthy. That keeps us alive.
Yeah, but you met
Thank
a whole
God
bunch of
we're
people.
not celebrities.
Chris, you met a whole bunch of people the same day that were not doing it right. Sean Penn stumbling down the street, Roseanne Barr screaming and
Exactly.
yelling obscenities because you had said something about her wearing her pajamas and looking like an escapee from the local psych ward. Yes, the Catholic Sun, ladies and gentlemen. You know what? It's a fun book. I hope you like the introduction, too. This is Pat McMahon.